Hello guys, I'm back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be putting talking about the top 5 point guards I think that the Lakers should sign. And of course, as you can see, the first guy is Spencer Dinwiddie, and I think the Lakers could pick him up for sure. uh, it's definitely possible, but it's also improbable, because it's probably not going to happen. But I think it could happen. So, but basically, what I'm trying to say is, if the Lakers can free up some cap space, maybe just maybe they can pull off a signing for him. Get him off the Nets roster. The Nets right now are just stacked. So, you know, the Lakers should think of signing him though. These are his stats right now. He only this season he only played 3 games. So I guess we'll talk about his stats from last year. So yeah, because he went down with an ACL tear injury, so he missed basically the whole season and didn't get to even play after those 3 games. And this season he only averaged like 6.7 points per game. So yeah, that's why we're going to talk about his stats from last year. So his stats from last year look like, so these are his stats. He was averaging 31.2 minutes per game. He attempted 16 shots per game, 6.6 field goal makes per game, shot 41.5% from the field, shot 30.8% from the 3-point line. His efficient field goal percentage said that he was shooting 47.6% from the field, and he also shot 77.8% from the free throw line. He averaged 20.6 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, 6.8 assists per game, 0.6 steals per game, 0.3 blocks per game, 2.7 turnovers per game, and 2.8 personal fouls per game. And of course, like I said, his 31.2 minutes per game. So, he could be a guy at the Lakers, look to sign. Of course, they would have to free up a lot of space. Maybe trade Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for a dude who's only worth about $4 million or something. If they can get lucky like that, and if they could pull off a trade like that, then yeah, this signing is definitely available for them. I'm not sure if Spencer Dinwiddie, wants to stay with the Nets though, so that's why I said this acquisition to get or sign Spencer Dinwiddie is pretty improbable, but it's possible. So moving on to the next point guard on our list, I have is Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne is, he's averaging 18 minutes per game, 6.6 field goal attempts per game, making 3.2 of them, 48.4% from the field, 44% from three, an efficient field goal percentage of 57.6%, a free throw percentage of 89.3%, and he's also averaging 8.4 points per game, 3.6 assists per game, 2.4 rebounds per game, 0.6 steals per game, and 0.3 blocks per game, along with a turnover per game and 1.6 fouls per game. I think Cameron Payne is happy, of course. Well, of course he's happy here in Phoenix with the Suns, along with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and the rest of the Suns roster. It's definitely a very, very solid roster. All around. This team is just ridiculous. It has a lot of bench depth and everything, and that's why they're in the NBA Finals right now, and they're up 2-1 as I'm recording this video. So yeah, it's pretty ridiculous how this team went from their odds of winning a championship at the beginning of the season, or in the middle of the pack. They were expected to maybe make the playoffs as the eighth seed. For sure would make the play-in, but maybe make the playoffs. And not only did they make the playoffs, they made a huge statement, went all the way to the NBA Finals. And they're probably even gonna win. They might even win the championship. You know, they they have a great chance of winning the championship right now. So yeah, but anyway, Cameron Payne probably going to stay on the Suns. But if the Suns end up finding a different option, like a Spencer Dinwiddie, like I mentioned before, or somebody else, then I think the Lakers could definitely sign Cameron Payne. Or if Cameron Payne decides to just go with the Lakers, I don't know. But I'm expecting him to ask for about 5 million. Oh, and by the way, if I forgot, but I think Spencer Dinwiddie would be worth about 15 million. I'm gonna say at least like 15 million. Yeah, around there. But Cameron Payne should be worth about 5 million. You know, maybe 8 million. It depends on him and how much he wants to ask for. But 5 to 8 million sounds about right for a guy like him. Anyways, the next point guard on my list is T.J. McConnell. He's a great defender. He's gonna get a lot of steals. He's gonna play make for you. He can score the ball pretty easily as well. Here are his stats for this season. He's averaging 26 minutes per game, 7.1 field goal attempts per game. He's making 4 of them, 55.9% from the field, 31.3% from 3, and efficient field goal percentage of 57.4%. Free throw percentage is 68.8%. He's also averaging 8.6 points per game, 6.6 assists per game, 3.7 rebounds per game, 1.9 steals per game, 0.3 blocks per game, 2 turnovers per game, and 1.6 fouls per game. And yeah, overall, he's just a solid player. At the point guard position, he gets quite a few rebounds. So yeah, I think he would be a great role player for the Lakers. If they end up keeping Dennis Schroeder, I think he can come off the bench and be a nice 6-man for him. But if they don't end up keeping Schroeder, which is looking like that's what the chances are saying, that they won't be able to keep Dennis Schroeder. But what I think they can do with Dennis Schroeder, by the way, is trade him in a sign and trade. But what I'm talking about, I actually think T.J. McConnell would probably be worth about 8 to 10 million maybe in free agency. So yeah, if the Lakers can get him, I think they can actually get him on their mid-level exception, which would be nice. Bringing in a guy at mid-level exception, to come into your team and really play a big role on both sides of the court for you. I think that's gonna be nice. That's something that the Lakers would very well need. He can be a spark plug off the bench, but not just a spark plug, but great playmaker, leader, and he can get into the passing lanes on D. The next player on this list is Reggie Jackson. The guy in the playoffs was the Clippers got eliminated in the conference finals by the Suns, but they didn't have Kawhi Leonard. And yes, the Suns, they missed Chris Paul for a little bit in the series, but that was just the first 2 games. Kawhi Leonard was out ever since Game 4 of the conference semifinals against the Jazz. And these Clippers were just playing ridiculous basketball even without Kawhi Leonard. Still being really solid, especially like in that Game 6 against the Jazz. They were just exposing Rudy Gobert and stuff. But yeah, Reggie Jackson was just insane. He put up some crazy statistics. I remember one game he had 27 points and 10 assists. The guy was on fire in those playoffs, and even in the regular season, he was a great role player. But like in the playoffs, he really stepped it up. He was actually looking like a guy who can average about 18 points for you, 18 points per game for you. And I believe that he can do that this coming regular season. if he keeps himself motivated from these NBA playoffs that he had this year. So yeah, I really think he would be a great addition to this Lakers team. And here are his stats for the 2020-2021 season. He's averaging 23 minutes per game. Well, I mean, that was in the regular season. In the playoffs, averaging like 30 minutes per game or something. But yeah, he's also attempting 8.7 field goal attempts per game and making 3.9 of them. That's 45% from the field. He's shooting 43.3% from three. He's shooting an efficient field goal percentage of 55.4%. He's shooting 81.7% at the free throw line. He's also shooting. He's scoring 10.7 points per game. He's dishing the rock out a little, averaging 3.1 assists per game, 2.9 rebounds per game, 0.6 steals per game, 0.1 blocks per game, 1.1 turnovers per game, and 1.9 fouls per game. His stats are solid. He's not giving too much on the defensive end, but on the offensive end, he's not, too good a passer, but every once in a while he can dish it to the open man, and they can knock down the shot. Every once in a while he's not like a crazy good playmaker, but every once in a while he's gonna play make for you. Just know that. But scoring wise, he's the type of point guard you need on your lineup when you're trying to score buckets. All right, he's the guy that you want in the clutch too. So that's what the Clippers were using him for. They were using him in the clutch too. But yeah, Reggie Jackson would be a nice addition to this team, as I said before. But the next point guard on my list is the final player is Derrick Rose. The guy had to be here on this list, and I think I say that's for us because I think that he is the most realistic. Well, maybe not the most realistic. The most realistic would probably be like TJ McConnell, but not the most realistic, but like the best out of the realistic ones. And I think all of them are realistic except for maybe Cameron Payne is not too realistic because he's playing on a championship team, but like the one that really wasn't too realistic was Spencer Dinwiddie. It's pretty improbable that he ends up on the Lakers next season. It could happen, but like most likely he's not. Okay. But Derrick Rose, he's the guy that could end up on a Lakers jersey. In a Lakers jersey next season. These are his stats for 2020-2021 season. He's averaging 26.8 minutes per game. He's attempting 12.2 field goal attempts per game, making 5.9 of them, shooting 48.7% from the field, 41.1% from three, 50.7% 2-point percentage, an efficient field goal percentage of 53%, free throw percentage 88.3%. He's also averaging 14.9 points per game, basically 15 points per game. He's also averaging 4.2 assists per game, 2.9 rebounds per game, 0.9 steals per game, 0.4 blocks per game, 1.4 turnovers per game, and 1.1 personal fouls per game. So the man is just averaging some crazy stats off the bench. All right, he was fighting for that 6 Man of the Year in that 6 Man of the Year race, but of course Jordan Clarkson really deserved it. But yeah, okay, bro. First of all, just look at what he was averaging before this, bro. Like look at the 2011 season, bro. That was just insane, bro. Remember those days? Oh man, I missed the old Derrick Rose, but this Derrick Rose is still pretty explosive for sure. He can dunk it for you once in a while. He can finish at the rim with both dunking and layups. He can shoot some mid-rangers. He can do a bit of everything on the offensive end. He can even He's even kind of developed a little bit of 3-point shot, shooting 41.1% from three that this season. That is, you know. But yeah, I think he would be asking for around 10 million. So they can use their mid-level exception to sign him. That would be a nice addition for him. After, well, I mean, I'm guessing that they'll lose Dennis Schroeder. I mean, he declined a pretty valuable contract extension. They were offering him a lot of money. He was about to get paid over $20 million a year, and he said no. Hey, I mean, if the guy doesn't want to play with the Lakers, then I mean he can do him. But if Dennis Schroeder doesn't leave the Lakers, I think this would be the best and a realistic addition to their team, bringing in or signing, Derrick Rose. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, he's the best out of all these, except for, excluding Spencer Dinwiddie, because, like I said before, he's not too realistic. So, yeah. But let me know what you guys think. Was Spencer Dinwiddie a realistic signing that the Lakers can do? And what would be the best signing out of all these? Alright, you let me know. And I'll catch you later. Make sure to leave it a like if you liked the video.